think so.
What letter is this?
Q.
Q. This is indeed a Q.
All right, welcome to the Patriot Hour, Sunday, 8/26, 2018. All right, we got some good stuff to get into here tonight, folks. All right, we had some new Q. Did want to touch base on, yes, I've been following it. Tons of people commenting on it. The the shooting at the tournament, the gamers. Shooting at the Madden tournament in Florida. What we know, multiple fatalities occurred in a shooting at the Madden 19 tournament in Jacksonville. Let's go to USA here today. So shooting at the Madden tournament. Go to this, CBS. Shooting at Jacksonville, Florida gaming tournament leaves 3 dead, including gunmen. Live updates. 2 people were killed and 11 others injured when gunmen opened fire at the popular waterfront mall in Jacksonville, Florida, where a video game tournament was being held. Graphic recordings from the scene captured gunshots ringing out and the screams of terrified patrons taking cover. David Kotz, 24, of Baltimore, Maryland, is believed to be the gunman. Jacksonville Sheriff Mike Williams said Katz used a single handgun to carry out the shooting and died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He had said Williams described Katz as a white male who was attending the gaming event. He did not know if Katz knew the victims. 9 others were all wounded by gunfire and 2 others injured as they fled the shooting. Williams said they were all in stable condition. The tournament for Madden NFL 19 players were being held at the GLHF Game Bar, which shares space with a restaurant. The bar told CBS News in a Facebook message. Fun facts, fast facts. A shooting broke out at the Madden NFL 19 tournament. 3 were killed, including the gunman. 11 injured. 9 with gunshot wounds, 2 fleeing the scene. Suspect identified as David Katz, 24, from Baltimore, Maryland. A motive for the shooting wasn't immediately clear. Now this 11 injured, 9 with gunshot wounds, and 2 fleeing. Does that mean maybe cops shot them because they were fleeing, just because they were so panicky, and the cops like, stop, and then shot? I don't know. 11 injured, 9 with gunshots, 2 fleeing the scene. Fleeing the scene. Maybe in cars? I just don't know. I'm not making any confusion of everything. I do not know. Do a quick Q update here. All right. All right, so unfortunate events for sure. Prayers to the family. Take a moment of silence for that. It's really unfortunate. Again, they took me to the hospital. Bullet grazed my head. I feel fine, just a scratch on my head. Traumatized and devastated. Gamers start tweeting out their experience in the Florida shooting as well. Gamers tweet their personal experiences in the Florida mass shooting. So I'm as curious why they're calling it mass. I thought that, is it 3? Is it 3 now? Even with the gunman included, I get it. 2, you kill 2 and then you kill yourself and it's considered mass. I thought it was at least 4, but they might have changed it. They took me to the hospital. Bullet grazed my head. I feel fine, just a scratch on my head. Traumatized and devastated. Dubby. One gamer at the tournament in Jacksonville, Florida on Sunday, where 11 people were shot by a lone gunman, tweeted with a bullet went through his body, but he is okay. Another bullet was lodged at the Madden Tech posted around 4:30. Another gamer at dub.w tweeted he is traumatized. G-Tech. I'm good. Got hit twice. Lower body. One went through. The other was lodged. They took me to the hospital. Bullet grazed my head. I feel fine. Just a scratch on my head. The attorney just got shot up. I'm leaving and never coming back. All right, so unbelievable, folks. Not really, but unbelievable for the people that that had to happen to, people that were there, people that aren't even weren't prepared or even thinking something like that was going to happen. You're going there for playing some games, and I'm sure a lot of them are the shoot 'em up. But the bullets never really leave the screen. It is again just a real tragic event. Make sure for the families and loved ones of those that lives got took. All right, give us a minute here. We're going to be getting into some interesting sharpen that. A couple of things we'll be getting in here to probably be having Ben join in via the internet like normal. All right, Sunday evening again. Thanks for coming to the Patriot Hour. Take a minute here. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for giving us some time. We appreciate it. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, share across all of your social media platforms. It is so important at this point. Censorship is coming at an all-time. We've seen it creep into this channel. It's completely destroyed any of the little bit of money, the little bit of money that was just coming in to seed help with new equipment. Again, I just ordered a bunch of RAM. I got stuff put, chairs and some soundproof to put up. Things I've just got to have, again, a couple of days down. Maybe try to still, work and do the things I got to do. Still got life. But you guys understand, you get it. But it's really important to share with you, because it's one thing to see the numbers on this channel kind of go down, get restricted. But if you guys, as much as I hear sharing, there's numbers that I'm, I guess it's all linking back. I'm sure maybe some of you rip the videos and they're actually out there on their own in different ways that I'm not seeing the views. But it's been great. We really, really appreciate it. Check the comment section down below. Check the description box for most of the links we'll go over here today. But this, again, we're going to get into just a little bit of this side of the pyramid over here. Now, if you remember, we had went over the Mothers of Darkness. Mother of Darkness, they call it here, no S, but Mothers of Darkness, Mother of Darkness. This is on the other side of the pyramid, and it's just one little square here. Next to it to the right, you got the Grand Master. Above the Mother of Darkness, you got the Grand Mother of Darkness. Below it, you got the Sisters of Light. On this other side here, you got the Black Brotherhood. You got the Red Brotherhood, and then you got the Great White Brotherhood. That is the top most echelon pyramid. So just want to show you guys a few of these different folders here, or pictures here that I have had, things we've gathered over the years. Some of them might not show up, so that's what I was wanting to see here. That one's a little blurry, but I think that's the same one. Yeah, they're not showing up too well. But this one does. And so does that one. So we'll be using those. But, okay, yeah. All right, so stick around. We're going to get into a great show here. Again, we got Ben joining in. I see he's already here. So let's give him get him in. All right. Can you hear us,
All
Ben?
right.
How you doing over there?
Doing well, doing well. I came in when you were just briefing some of your listeners kind of about some of the materials we're going to be using and going into the different levels of the brotherhoods on the one side of the pyramid. And this is some big stuff here. You know, this is stuff that, we can't go in completely 100% to the rabbit hole on this one, but we're going to be lightly touching. And this is some pretty heavy stuff. So I'm definitely have some
agree.
reverence for tonight's show.
Well, right before you came in, I had just basically started. I checked over the queue. There's no new queue post, and we talked about the shooting in Florida at the gamer event. So, latest thing here was these gamers tweet their experience, but there was 2 shot, and including the gunman. So I think 3. They were saying 3 shot, including the gunman. Now, I think they changed what mass murder means. I was just was unaware. I didn't look it up, but I thought it used to be 4. But I think under Obama or one of the Bush, they changed it 1 number, and it includes the shooter now. So I think it's 3, and that's include a mass shooting,
used to be
or
6. I know. Yeah,
or I guess if you don't die or not doesn't matter. It's
if
if you're shot, right? If you're shot, it's still a mass shooting. It's not a mass.
Yes, it isn't. Yes, you don't have to necessarily die as long as you're shot. And I think, and
there was like 11.
The militaries. Yeah, so there you go.
Okay, but yeah, what are you gonna say now about the military?
Well, I know that the military has. I think they had like a different. I think they had like 6 individuals would be considered a quote unquote mass shooting. Where, like you were saying earlier, they now had. I don't know if it was the military or the overall Department of Defense. One of the departments they had where they talk about what classifies as a mass shooting. How many people need to be shot before it's a quote unquote mass? And I think you were saying they've lowered the number so they can.
I think I did hear that.
So they can start saying, "Hey, we have more mass shootings now." And it's like, well, is that like I said, is that including gunmen, or is that not including the gunmen?
Yeah, and it is. It does certain. I think the FBI's now include 1 less number, and the gunmen can be included. But gamers tweet their personal experiences. They took me to the hospital, but bullet grazed my head. I feel fine. Just a scratch on my head. Traumatized and devastated. So just to recap, I know we just went through this. Sunday, 11 people were shot by a lone gunman that a bullet went through. One of the guys tweeted went through his body. This guy, I'm good, got hit twice, lower body. Only one went through. The other was lodged.
What?
They took me to the hospital. Bullet grazed my head. I feel fine. The attorney just got shot up. I'm leaving and never coming back. It's kind of odd. Some odd stuff.
How did that guy? I don't know. Now that one down there. Now this is just me as my skeptic military, working on people who've gotten shot with a NATO round. That one guy said they just got shot twice in the lower extremities. One went through. Other one, I'm good. That's weird to me. And I don't know what. That's just weird. That's all.
Jacksonville landing shooter David Katz described as gamer angry after losing in tournament. Ooh. This is a Madden 19 NFL tournament, by the way.
Erupted in anger after losing the event. David Katz, 24, of Baltimore, was believed to have fired shots during the event at the Chicago Pizza Restaurant and bar injected landing. And Sheriff Mike Williams said at news conference, William did not speak about the possible motive. Self-inflicted gunshot wound after he shot multiple people twice. So, well, here's my question. He was using a pistol, right? So are they going to make this a assault rifle, another thing to ban assault rifles when he probably never used one? Because I don't know how you can shoot yourself in the head with an assault rifle. I mean, you can. I guess you got to have a 14-inch barrel, and
This is the one I was reading earlier. It had fast facts.
Mm-hmm.
Check these out.
Shooting. Okay.
Wow. It's like right in my way.
Get up there. No, I don't want to go to this propaganda's website.
I don't know what that is.
Get off! No,
There.
no.
Sorry, folks. That shocked the heck out of us. All right, so really quickly, a shot broke out at the Madden 19 tournament. The 3 killed, including the gunman. 11 injured. 9 with gunshot wounds. 2 fleeing the scene. So I don't know if that means they were shot by cops because they were panicking and it was like, stop, stop. And they didn't. They got shot. They didn't die, but 11 injured. 9 with gunshot. 2 fleeing. Maybe they were driving a car and wrecked. I don't know what that quite means. Suspect, maybe if we read the whole article. We're real good here. We're real good. I guess we could. I didn't do a lot of research on this, folks. I just jumped in. Governor Rick Scott, Florida Highway Patrol were assisting the investigation. Shooting authorities gather the horrible situation. Our deepest sympathies go out to all involved. I said that myself. But
it just seems like these are more and more. He got grazed on the head. He got shot in the thumb. It's like this guy. Okay, so he killed 2, including himself. There's 3. It just seems like more people are doing the I'm going to kill myself or
11
I can't
injured.
take it anymore.
2 leaving, maybe flipped over cars,
who knows?
Just hurt, injured. But I'll read it. I'll bring you guys more on that. The reason I don't know much and haven't read a bunch because we've been doing other research and a prepared kind of episode for today. So
but
let's
this came
jump
out,
into
and like
that.
you said, yeah, we just want to get the information out there because it is the current news and it's what's happening, and that could later on play into something that we're unaware of. So
Exactly. So all right, so let's jump into this a little bit here.
So I know that we were looking at in one of the earlier episodes we had saw Fritz Springmeier kind of give his or the picture of the pyramid, and it was Mothers of Darkness were in one of the upper echelons. Yep, there you go. The Skull and Bones are on one, and then basically on the right hand side, it seemed to be the organized Satanism in hubs and the Brotherhood. So this is the actual the Satanists, I guess, the higher in the everybody's basically the main people controls literally one facet of the entire side of a pyramid. So
Yeah.
that's power. You see like the Skull and Bones, and the Master Witches, Knights Templar. They all have small little tiny almost compartmentalized sections of the pyramid where these guys are having whole swaths of the pyramid. And we were talking about you got the Black Brotherhood, the Red Brotherhood, and then the Great White Brotherhood. And when you hear those words, thinking of pigmentation, oh, the Great White Brotherhood, that's a KKK, the Nazis. Like, no, this is the esoteric or the inner meaning, not the exoteric or the outward meaning of this. And so I know that we did some research before the show on some Garage Talk about the Great White Brotherhood and what it was. could possibly be.
And it's like
And
theosophy, it's
it's
theosophy is what they call it.
Theosophy Society is like Helena Blavatsky. Um, this is always goes back to the Vril Society that Hitler, which was an occultic
Ascending
society.
masters and
Hmm.
so
So
masters of wisdom, ascending masters is what a lot of the reading gets into. So I do have something pulled up. The Great White Brotherhood in belief systems akin to, like we said, theosophy and the New Age are said to be supernatural beings of the great power who spread spiritual teachings through selected humans. The members of the Brotherhood may end up being known or may be known as Masters of Ancient Wisdom or the Ascended Ones, Ascended Masters, etc., so on and so forth. But what else more? Can you tell us on this, Ben? On the Great
I was
White
gonna
Brotherhood.
I was gonna see there's a scripture in the Bible when Jesus was basically talking to his disciples, and he tells them even, and I was trying to pull it up here, and maybe
So
you
that
can while I'm.
Helena, was she
So
like
the
not one
Helena
of the first
Blavatsky.
ones to have believed to talk with him or something? Is what I've read. The
Well,
Helena.
she was like basically a glorified channeler, and like Aleister Crowley and these other satanic high warlocks, um, would basically channel or speak to these entities. And Blavatsky channeled a entity. I don't know what the name was, but this entity started giving her all this information, and she wrote a whole. And it was she started the Theosophy Society, and the whole idea and their teachings all comes from her channeling. So this is it was interesting because everything that we've been going leading up to this, like we were talking about, when you're seeing this pedophilia and this pedivore and this child sacrifice and this evil, who do you think they're doing that to? Who do you think they're sacrificing these children to?
Yeah.
And so if we're saying that there's that Q and those around him and POTUS is going after human trafficking, and that's all incorporated with the sex slaves and this kind of stuff, who do you think they're sacrificing these children to? And in the Bible, let's see, when Jesus is talking to his disciples, he's telling them that no wonder the devil, the evil one, masquerades as an angel of light. That word masquerade, I'm pulling that from the Old English, or the Queen's English, if you will, because the newer versions of the Bible will say something that he disguises himself, or they use a more of another word. But the word masquerading is really what is the occultic, the basis for all occultic satanic belief system, is that there's always two belief systems. There's the exoteric, what the whole world sees. Then there's the
Esoteric.
esoteric, what
Yes.
the true inner meaning is. So like we have like the Petio Gate, and they have like those upside down triangles that are in a little spiral, and that's a pizza. Well, that's what we think it is, but the inner meaning means something way different. So in the Bible, it talks about the devil masquerading as an angel of light. The Great White Brotherhood are these ascended masters. I believe they are one, fallen angels, they're demonic spirits that these people are channeling, literally physically, they're physically channeling, and they're appearing them as these angels of light, giving them the wisdom on what to do, how to trade, basically how to set up this world, because the Bible says that the current ruler, the ruler of this world right now in 2018, is the evil one. He is the ruler of this world. And so it tells us that it's very clear. Now we're speaking from a biblical authority, and if you're not a religious individual, you don't believe in the Bible, you would say, well, it's the Bible. I don't believe that. So, and that's fine. That's okay. This is what we believe. But look at it from a non-biblical view. You have a very small group of people talking to, you may call them aliens, you may call them whatever you want to call them. They're extraterrestrial, not of this earth, and they're getting information and then turning around and controlling the whole entire world. And you can't deny that. You can't deny that 6 corporations as of 2011 controlled all media on Earth.
Well,
And
and that's
that's
what I've
wow.
kind of gotten into. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
whether or not you believe this, folks, at this point, and if you believe in all this, oh, they're manipulating us, and if you've seen the change and the ebb and flow of their games that they've pushed onto people, taken away, created division, and socially engineered issues that we have with other people, is because of what they do. And you believe in all that, then, and if you're at a point where it's like, I don't really believe in the whole Bible stuff, and that can be very well personal, but think of maybe where you've come up with your conclusions, certain things you've watched, certain people you've encountered, and what they've heard. You're supposed to listen to everything, but you're supposed to come to good conclusions as well. And if you've landed on certain things aren't true, well, you just got to remember this. This is what these people at the very highest level, as well as they've done to get everyone not to really believe in God or the Bible, they do. And they're doing rituals, doing sacrifices to their master. The very highest level, they're channeling things the Bible talking out about not doing. Don't channel, don't play with Ouija boards, because these things will lie to you. You'll never contact who you are being told you're contacting. And there's ways to discover that as well, but you shouldn't be dabbling in that. And of course, these things lie. And these people are more duped, basically, than anyone else. But that's just something to keep in mind, whether or not that's where it's, we're taking it, or Q people have gotten to a religious point with this. It's just because it's where it leads. And you can't ignore it. You can't change, the meaning. But yeah, whether or not your whole thing on top level demons is aliens, that can be your story, and you wouldn't be too far from being wrong, but that's just in your own, that's not how the story goes.
You bring a good yeah, that's a great point, because they're extraterrestrial. Well, we kind of believe the same thing. I believe that God created angels, and they're of a heavenly realm. They're on the third heaven, which is above the firmament, of course, it says, the Bible says, and they came down to Earth. And so, yeah, they're extra. They're not of this world, right? They're not terrestrial beings.
They're not of this world. So they're not. Yeah, there you go. And it's just a word, folks. We shouldn't get hung up a lot on that. But
I just wanted the verse that I was talking of earlier is 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 14 says, "And no marvel, for Satan himself is masquerade into an angel of light. Therefore, it is no great thing of his ministers or his followers also to be transformed as ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works." So it says, so if the devil, the evil one, at the very, very top, at these people who are channeling, who are more duped than we are masquerading as an angel of light, basically putting a mask over himself and acting like an angel of light. And it says, oh, if you do this, this is called love. Sacrifice these kids to me, as an example. This is love. Then his people are going to go and say, oh, this is what God told me. The name of this is what's happening. And they'll masquerade, and they'll understand the deception. So that was just basically to give you guys an idea that if we're making the assumption that these things are ascended masters, well, the Vedic texts and the India, Eastern Asia, Asian cultures and their religions believe that you have to be reincarnate, you die and reborn and die and reborn and die and reborn until you become perfect and godlike. All of these ideas come from the original lie in the Garden of Eden, when Satan, the evil one, came and told Eve that, no, you shall not surely die. You shall live forever. You shall know everything. And
gift of intellect.
The gift of intellect. You should be God yourself. And that's the same lie that's happening now.
Same lie that's spread throughout time, folks. That is the promise in all of these secret societies, is you'll ascend and be godlike yourself with the use of technology and you know you can be God like yourself. That is the promise given. We know that. We've done enough research. That's something else. Like with all this going on, folks, all my research, and I guess I'm a good example of that. Early on, you're talking, 20 years, 15, 17 years ago, I went through a lot of these angles shown here on the screen right now. I would go into this, I'd go into the Rothschild, the Bilderberg, and all of them would lead me down a path of coming out of the arrow to go on to the next thing, or just within that group, to Satan, to very dark, evil, and a lot of times early on I would watch things until it got to that point, like, oh, okay, that's kind of getting weird, and I'd turn it off, start into something else. But every time it would lead me to that. So there's no doing the research unless you're willing to see what it is. The truth has no boundaries. You can't stop shy or like, well, I don't really get into that, and well, these people over here are into that. The people doing research, whether or not you're into it, research is research, right? I mean, that's
Well, there's a statement that a lot of us make, and even tubers and a lot of people, it's something called the rabbit hole. Oh, we went down that rabbit hole. That's a classic example of you don't know where it's going to go. So the White Brotherhood, we've kind of capped it as the Ascended Masters. These are the
so that's a very top capstone of that.
This is the capstone.
One of the sides. Yep. It's a whole. Is it just? It's only half of one side. See, that's what I was saying here. Like the whole side of this pyramid here, right? Mm-hmm. Has three different top sections, so it's a third of a capstone.
Yes,
right?
It's a third of the entire. Yes, I would agree with you.
What's on this other side? There's two sides left, or is this showing us?
Well, if you look down the very bottom, there are there are 5 sections of this pyramid. So it's not it's a 5-section pyramid. At the very bottom left, it goes the original Bavarian Illuminati, which is the 13th degree. That's the Adam Weishaupt. That's his hole. So the novice is the first degree, fellow Marvel craftsman, hierarchy level, all the way up to the priest. And then you have today's Illuminati, 6th or lifetime positions. So you have the Scottish Rite Freemasonry, and you have the Oriental Freemasonry, and each of them has different ones. I'm not so at the very bottom there's one side, so the Bavarian Illuminati, they control one whole side. The Illuminati today, the Novice Witch, this kind of stuff going up to the Sisters of Light, to the Mothers of Darkness. Then you have the taped candidates Order of Skull and Bones. That's the Knights, the Skull and Bones, that kind of stuff. Then you have the Marvel 111, or the Order of Tau Ove, or the OTO, which Aleister Crowley started.
Yes.
That's what he started. The Knights of the Templar Order, or not that, excuse me, the Order of Tau, but it's like the OTO is what he started. And we know that Aleister Crowley he's very closely related, or he with the Anton LaVey writing the Satanist Bible. Then of course you have on the far right, we've been going over tonight, which is the organized Satanism in hubs and the Brotherhood. So these would be
the Black Brotherhood. We got the Red Brotherhood, and then we were kind of discussing the capstone, the Great Brotherhood.
So the Great White Brotherhood is go ahead.
No, yeah, the Great White Brotherhood is the top, for sure, of those 3 categories, I would guess: organized Satanism in the hubs and in the Brotherhood. Man.
So I just pulled up. Okay, so we're saying that, or we're saying with what we know, the Great White Brotherhood, the very top. This is these beings of light, these spiritual people that they're channeling or something and getting their information, and they give the information to the Special Councils Committee, to the 10 and 13th degree of the original Illuminati, Bavarian, the Royal Inquisition of the OTO, um, the very top of all these, like, like you said. So they are controlling all that kind of stuff. So who are the Red Brotherhood? Now I pulled up, it's called the Red Brotherhood Priest, and it's a Red Brotherhood occult. And I'm just coming for their, this is off their, literally their website, and this is kind of what they say here. I'm pulling, and you might be able to pull this up yourself. It's just a redbrotherhoodpriest.wordpress.com is their website, and they go over, this is their, and I'll wait to read this because this is very spooky. Now I don't know if this is the exact same Red Brotherhood, but going down the satanic, we there it says right under the picture of the skull with the two silver dollars in the
How
right
can
underneath
I
that.
join the world-leading occult organization to enrich myself and never be poor in life again? So we've got a skull here, some money in it. Very
satanic,
occultic.
and
This is a very occultic picture here, folks.
And so this is what they promote you. What do they say? Why suffer in poverty when you can join Red Brotherhood and become millionaire instantly? Why searching for power at the workplace when there is the greatest of all in the universe, Red Brotherhood? Get your power from Red Brotherhood. Red Brotherhood is the greatest. Call the temple today. So how can you become a millionaire overnight? How can you sell 1 million records and become the latest, greatest musician overnight? I think we all know how you can do that overnight. You're selling your soul. You're doing the deed, whatever they call that. And we see that all over now. So you can see that the Red Brotherhood, this could be the, this is the intermediary Satanist organizations. You've already sold your soul. You're kind of, you're not quite. And I would say look up some maybe the Black Brotherhood. But again, people, this is organized Satanism and the Brotherhood. So this is not the kids you see walking on the street with the pentagrams and the faces painted white and black, and they're all goth and they're like, ooh, it's evil, it's evil. No, these people, you would never know. This is not something that they walk around with devil's horns on. These people are very well connected, very well off financially, wear the best clothes, drive the nicest cars. I mean, here's a website. You call this number, and overnight you can make $1 million. Like, that's kind of interesting,
So they're also known as the Black Magicians.
Now, look up there. Look the upper left of that picture. Up there left. Isn't that the star of Remphan, the hexagram?
Yep.
On the left-hand
side. Star
side.
of David, don't they? A lot of people.
Well, that doesn't say about that in the Bible. I know. Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, but other common symbols are pentagram, 5-pointed, the hexagram, 6-pointed, the Star of David. That's what they say anyway. Yeah. The swastika reversed, the way Hitler used it, and the pyramid in general. The Black Magicians. So the secret societies controlled by the Illuminati have a secret grade of initiation. All right, and we know that these brotherhoods are initiation. A pyramid structure where the people on one level of the pyramid do not know what the people on the level above them know. The pyramid originally symbolizes illumination with a majority of initiates at the bottom, and the road to illumination becomes narrower and narrower the higher up you reach until you pass through illumination of the sun to the ultimate illumination of the other side. So if you notice here in the right-hand corner of this picture, you see the Black Brotherhood at the bottom. Throughout history, although the rules have been less strict recently in effort to recruit more members, in Freemasonry, you can't just become a member. You have to be recommended by at least 2 persons who are already members. And the applicant should be examined of his own record before he is able to join. If only one person in the council says no to the membership, the suggested person will not be initiated. Each person is very carefully examined to determine if the brotherhood may have any use for him. That doesn't mean that they are selecting only bad people. It's quite the opposite. Let Ben here read in a minute. I do want to take a minute to say, just like in a lot of the other secret societies and the research I've done, even in local towns all across the country, folks, all across the world, this plays out. If you don't even get to join the Freemasons in your town unless you are invited. After several years, your buddy, hey John, why don't you come join the lodge? We've been buddies, da da da, and that's how you get brought in. You go through your initiations, and but you're looked at, and you can play around in the levels of 1 to, most people you'll meet are a 1, 2, or a 3 for several years, and a lot of people will not advance much higher than that. You don't think it's a lot of times it's about the bloodline, but they'll still let people join, and they can prop you up to be local, sometimes help you to be a local senator or a local congressman locally, and they will use you on those levels. But if you're not, sometimes these things run off strict bloodlines, and you'll never be illuminated to the 33rd degrees or much higher than that exist, what we know as behind the veil. So I don't know, but anyway, Ben, what more do you have on some of this stuff? I want to go ahead and read. You could read here in a minute, but
I think when Mike and I just say, hey, remember to put on the full armor of God. This is the people we're talking about who are doing battle against, because they're putting on a different kind of armor. And it is interesting. A lot of people on getting back to these lower levels, upper levels, and different things. This is the idea: is that it's going to come to you in many shapes and forms as a good thing. Like, I know that the Shriners, the Catholics have their hospitals, and I'm not knocking Catholicism.
Well, yeah, they don't entice people by promoting. They can't. It's not an open society of evil like that so much. It is. It's not like yeah.
And so it's like the fact that you have to be asked to join, and even if you're an atheist, well, I don't believe in the Bible. Well, you're taking an oath to the great architect, as they call him, of the universe. So even for atheists, a few things. And so this is a lot how even just basic corporations are set up. You want to be mid-level, management, they're going to look at you. You got to do good. And a lot of times it involves money people. Yeah. Many Freemasons at the lower levels are actually very pleased to be members. It's a tight, belonging feeling, and they will learn a few secrets of this universe which are not taught in school. They are often enthusiastic and fascinated. One Freemason said, "Besides my wife, Freemasonry is the most important thing in my life." His wife, by the way, must never know anything about what her husband is doing within this society, as it is supposed to be kept a secret, and women are most often not allowed into the societies. However, there are a few societies, especially for women, like the Freemasonic Eastern Star, which is a crescent moon, of course, with some stars below it.
So think about that. We know these here, they got these kind of societies set up out there for people to get invited into later on. Now, imagine being born into this. This would be higher levels, folks, way much higher than the local lodge in your town made up for the normies that they use typically in most of all these at lower levels. But at the highest levels of these secret families, the 13 of them, their kids, these programs we talked about, the Monarch, certain people have been put through. They go to a totally opposite school than what we go to, that we're allowed to go to. Even if I went to the best private schools, private school here, public school over here, inner city, country. We've all had our experiences, but we've all learned generically the same stuff. Yep. Mostly false history and just what they wanted to put into us. It's that simple, that easy. That's 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 the bottom line. Now, what do you think that these elite kids that are going to be groomed to either be actors in the world, to play movies to keep us entertained, or to be selected to be monarched and be news agents to help keep the story going, the cover, the illusions. Your people are selected, young ages, they're grown up. The schools they go to, they learn what they are shoved with.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Q and Trump is introducing the mass public to something called gematria, and gematria is as old as almost time itself. Numbers have always been a way for humans to quantify the unquantifiable, right? You know, how do you put, you know, if you think God, you know, which I do, created everything, how do you put a number on that? And so gematria, what you and I go to school to learn are times tables, multiplication, division, subtraction, addition. Then you get into a little bit of algebra. You may do geometry. If you're lucky, you may touch trigonometry, but you can't get into calculus, finite mathematics, statistical mathematics until you get into the higher levels of college. And so what you think that you learn in school, or when you come home and, all right, this is what you do. This is a dollar bill. And if you put it on the bed and your dollar bill saved is a dollar bill, you know, you can $2 the next day. And so what's happening is these people, their chosen select bloodline, they're going to school and they're learning gematria. They're learning how to cast money spells. They're learning how to tap certain spirits and certain. Well, when you're in Spain, son, you're going to tap this particular spirit because this particular spirit is of the region of Spain. And one of his prefects and wizards that channels this spirit of you can go to the Red Brotherhood and you're going to have this connection here and this special handshake. And this is how they orchestrate. And when you're born into an unlimited amount of money because your family and the other 12 bloodlines created something out of nothing, and you're laughing at everybody because it's like, our schools actually tell us what's really going on in real science, and they teach the same satanic, occultic, basically it's the ancient mystery schools of Babylon. They're teaching.
Yeah, the mystery schools of Babylon. Bill Cooper's done a great job of covering those. Now we're talking 20, 25 years ago, but
Yes.
I did see that, as you're saying that, they're anxious to recruit with the purpose to create a positive front. The brotherhoods, I would imagine all of them, are actually very eager to recruit good people, celebrities, and people in positions where they are admired by the population in general, are extremely valuable to recruit, to speak good of the organization and defend it when it's necessary. And the less these people know about the real agenda, the more truthful this person will sound in his defense of the organization. This also goes for religious cults of any sort, as they are too connected to the network of secret societies in one way or another. That's kind of like Tom Cruise with
Scientology.
there you go. It's kind of like
And
their
you know what's funny is-
spokesperson.
It is, and it's interesting. People are like, man, what's wrong with him? Because he's lost wives, kids, all kinds of crazy things, acted weird. Like, well, it's Scientology, and it's like, wasn't that a religious founded by L. Ron Hubbard? Wasn't he part of the OTO? And wasn't he an Aleister Crowley disciple? Him and Jack Parsons, who created the Jet Propulsion Lab inventories and was doing crazy satanic Babylon Rising occultic rituals in what we now know as Groove Lake or Area 51.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. So this isn't something that we just were cooking up and out of our brains here. Here's a good point. Manly P. Hall and Albert Pike, two very important individuals in the not only Freemasonic religion and their belief system. They are also both high members in the other satanic societies.
Go ahead and
Manly
read this.
P. Hall. So
Below is proof.
below, coming directly from the horse's mouth, that Freemasonry is not a Christian organization in spite of what their lower grade members think. At the higher grade, members say these quotes are taken from A, the works of Manly P. Hall, who was perhaps the most famous and important Freemason, who was a 33rd degree, of the 20th century, and frequently read, especially on the higher echelons of Freemasonry. B, Albert Pike, the icon of Freemason, also he a 33rd degree, who wrote the book Morals and Dogma, and yet a few other significant sources. So if you click on Morals and Dogma on the Albert Pike, and that just and you have to, I mean, it'll tell you the book itself. Here you go. That's what this is. Lucifer, the light bearer, strange and mysterious
Mystery
name
given to the spirit of darkness. Whoa. Yeah. Lucifer, the son of morning, is it he who bears the light, and with its splendors intolerably blinds feeble, sensual, or selfish souls. Doubt it not. So
this is who they, at the upper echelons, they're writing to you, they're telling you, and there's a title of degrees. Master of the Royal Secret, 32nd degrees. Now, there's only 32 degrees in Freemason. The 33rd degree is a invitation only. The Freemasonry only goes to 32nd degree. So this is what Albert. So when we're talking about this.
So is this from the book of Manly P. Hall? Is this man is a good man? This is God in the making, and as a mystic mist of Egypt and the potter's will. He is being molded. When his light shines out to lift and preserve all things, he receives a triple crown of godhood. Manly P. Hall, The Lost Keys of Freemasonry.
Let's try this one. It's another one. European mysticism was not dead at the time of the United States of America was founded. The hand of the mysteries controlled the establishment of the new government, for the signature of the mysteries may still be seen on the Great Seal of the United States of America. Careful analysis of the seal discloses a mass of occult and Masonic symbols, chief among them the so-called American Eagle. The American Eagle upon the Great Seal, but as a convoluted phoenix, or a conventionalized phoenix.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Conventionalized.
So phoenix is a depiction of Lucifer,
yes,
rising from the ashes. That's what he is. So
here we go. What is true to the philosopher would not be truth, nor have the effect of truth, to be the pheasant. The religion of many must necessarily be more incorrect than that of the refined and reflected few. The truest religion would, in many points, not be comprehended by the ignorant. The doctrines of the Bible are often not clothed in the language of strict truth, but in that which was the fittest to convey to a rude and ignorant people the doctrine. Albert Pike, Morals and Dogma, 14th degree, page 224.
he is also quoting the Jewish Kabbalah, or the which tells that the Jewish people, or which is the spiritual side, are the smart ones, and we goy, or we Gentiles we are not smart enough to take care of ourselves. And so these people, when you become enlightened, you actually become above those around you. So this is out there, people. This is not something that, here you go. Read. A 33rd degree Freemason, Albert Pike, lived from 1809 to 1891. The man disdained the development, the Luciferian doctrine for the Masonic hierarchy, could not accept that Lucifer and Satan were the same personality. While teaching his beliefs to a select few in the Supreme Council, Pike became the most powerful Mason in the world. Although an although obstructure general in the Confederate Army during the American Civil War, he was hardly inconspicuous in Freemasonry. From 1859 until his death in 1891, Pike occupied simultaneously the positions of Grand Master of the Central Directory at Washington, D.C., Grand Commander of the Supreme Council at Charleston, South Carolina, and the Sovereign Pontiff of the Universal Freemasonry. He was an honorary member of almost every Supreme Council in the world, personally receiving 130 Masonic degrees. Pike also was one of the most physically and morally repulsive individuals in American history. Weighing well over 300 pounds, his sexual proclivity was to sit naked. It's getting hard to read this. Naked and astride a phallic throne in the woods, accompanied by a gang of prostitutes. To these orgies would bring one or more wagon loads of food and liquor, which of most would consume over a period of 2 days until he passed out into a stupor. In his adapted state of Arkansas, Pike was well known as a practitioner of Satanism. Portraits of his later years show him wearing a symbol of a Baphomet around his neck. Scarlet and the Bead, John Daniel, Volume 7. Wow, that was wow. Wow. This is Albert Pike, that every Freemason across this earth will quote some way or something from his book, Morals and Dogma, bolstering that what they're doing is a good thing. And it's sad because, yes, we're not picking on the Freemasons, but we're using this organization as an example. There are many other organizations like this because, like an octopus has many tentacles, if you will. This is just one of the many ways that they recruit. They get, and you got to think about it too. The evil one needs foot soldiers. They need people to get out and do these things. And you think to yourself, what's going on with all these false flags? Is this shooting? I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe this is reaching, but I mean, I wonder if these higher up, do they hold seances and we need to have two good mass shootings coming up, because that's going to get this region in a real turmoil, and it's going to get these really going, and we can do this. Right there he's wearing a Luciferian symbol right there in his
That's a Baphomet.
right there, Yep. That's not the actual picture of the goat head, but that's a symbol for the Baphomism. There it is, right there. Yep, the picture right below that has a little. the Baphomet.
Yep.
I think one right below that, or right, shows a little him a picture. Go back the left 2 or 3 pictures now.
Left.
Yeah, left 4 pictures. One more.
Ooh.
Make that bad boy big, because that also shows. That's when I started talking about the Catholic Church. That's kind of why I didn't want to bash Catholics, but here you go. A Catholic priest is holding up a big giant scepter, and it has the Baphomet, Knights Templar. So when I said something about Catholicism, that's Pope John Paul II, by the way, people, I believe, right? Is that who it is? Pope John Paul, the last pope, or the second to the last pope?
Freemason Masonic 33rd degree, General Albert Pike, sporting the Papal Cross as the official emblem of the Papal office.
And that's the Baphomet.
And the woman, church, which thou sawest in the great city of the Vatican, which reigneth over the kings, nations of the earth. Wow.
Revelations chapter 17,
Revelation.
verse 18.
Wow.
So we're not saying, this isn't something that we're pulling up out of our own, I just believe this because it sounds good. No,
You
this
know, they just
is
saw us come across this. It's out there. It's
yeah,
been
no,
known.
it's out there.
Well
This is open
known.
source information, and if you're gonna get into something, please research. I mean, he's got the double-headed eagle right there, which is, it's their 33rd degree. He's putting the double-headed eagle. I mean, it's this is the man that a lot of Freemasons follow and aspire to be, because 90% of their writings is coming from this man. And by the way, he was a general in the. Here's another little fun fact. Did you know both major generals on the North Union Army and the Southern Confederate Army were both Freemasons?
Really?
Pretty interesting. Yep. You got Albert Pike was a general, and a couple other generals on the Confederate side, and then of course on the Northern or Union side, they had Freemason generals. So we know the French Revolution, the Revolution was started by the Illuminati, and you have some more of the hidden hand. Who do you think is the hidden
Look at
hand
all
who
that.
controls all things? Napoleon. I mean,
See Barack down here?
mm-hmm. Oh yeah. George Washington.
Jeez, that's occultic. Who's
I
that,
would
Justin
say
Bieber?
so. No, I don't know who that
These
is,
are
but
like
I mean,
actors today.
And that's old Seville up in the top right-hand corner, one of the biggest pedophiles ever in Europe, a rock star, and that guy right there, yeah, was it Adam Seville, whatever his name is,
I
Seville?
have no idea.
Man,
I
he
knew
is
so
an
much.
evil
Okay.
pedophile.
The Hidden Hand. What is that?
That's interesting.
Ooh. See that?
Mm-hmm. You have very old 1,000-year-old tapestries, and there's the queen's assistant. Is he her handler, and she is a little bit of monarch programmed? I mean,
Ooh. Control. Ooh, that's what's his name.
Mm-hmm. The Beatles, we know they were. Well, they already had on their. Sorry, what was it? The Yellow Submarine album. They had Aleister Crowley on there. That's a good one right there for sure.
Well, we're at the hour and 3-minute mark, folks. So, some closing thoughts on all this? We kind of just took our time, did some research into it, folks. It's late. We've done lots of videos today. I'm going to give Ben the floor here for a minute. Ben,
I would.
tell him
Yeah,
what you
I would
think.
say that you guys now have an idea. If you've never heard this, now you have heard it now. So when you go out and about, what we're trying to do is basically give you the how the enemy works. Some of these ideas. If you know somebody, or you have an interest in finding out more about it, or you start going around in your local community and you start seeing symbols and symbology, and you have more of a desire to learn what those symbols mean, because of what you've seen here, and you have some questions. Again, we couldn't delve into every single rabbit hole and go all the way down and go through everything. We're trying to give you a light overview of each thing, so it gives you an idea of at least how this one side of the pyramid, according to Fritz Springmeier and what he was going through, is controlling. And really, they're locked into every other aspect of the pyramid. And we went to the top, and if you're seeing who the Great White Brotherhood is, according to what we think it is, and the fallen angels and the Archon, same thing the Old Testament was talking about, and the New Testament, the Gospels, the Book of Revelation. And this is something that we've been fighting. It's good versus evil. And pray for our president. Pray for those in charge because they need wisdom. Pray, get the full armor of God on you because we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. And pray for Mike and I. We're going through this information, and there's a lot of times we'll hop into some information and haven't stopped and prayed about it, and said, hey, protect us, and, pray for us as we go through this, and, pray that God gives us wisdom we can get and see stuff and get out to you guys, because we wouldn't be doing this if we didn't have a passion for this and want to let you guys know what's about it. I mean, we could talk to each other on the phone and in person and BS, all day long. And we've been doing that for years. We have a heart to get this out to you guys. And I think, this may have been a little bit more of a darker focusing on some other episode, but in the end, we know who wins, right? The Bible always tells us who's the victor. So we know the ending already. We're just trying to let you know what's happening before it gets to the end and then get you prepared. So that's what I have to kind of say about this particular episode for sure.
All right. That's Ben. Grateful to have him with us tonight, in the future, in the past episodes. We are all learning and going forward with where it takes us, folks. We aren't the judge of that. We can only go where the truth takes us. So that's what we've been doing, and that's what we'll continue to do. Like Ben said, you bring light into the dark, it'll light up the room. You can never bring dark back into that room where it's all lit, and you're not going to create it to go dark again. It's too lit. So that's all we're doing, is bringing light into a lot of these areas that may have been dark to you or those around you. And now we just lit it up for you to understand, and you can take that and bring light to other people. Some of these angles, many facets, and with the last several months on this channel, bringing the Q drops and just trying to analyze them and just keeping up with it being the slower times and everything starting to unfold, you're going to get a good grasp of all of these little angles that need to be exposed, broken apart, and that's only going to happen with light. We got to shine the light in these areas. So anytime we have a little bit of downtime, or we just feel a particular given time that we need to deliver this message and bring something, we're going to do that. Other people are bringing light to other areas, but it all has a role. And it's just something that needs to be talked about and discussed. And now that you know about it, you can never not know. I'm Mike. This is a Patriot Hour. God bless, Godspeed to each and every one of you worldwide. Please subscribe, like, share, and don't forget to take a look in the comment section. Don't forget to take a look in the description box. We'll see you back here on the next Patriot Hour update video, and many more areas we got to cover on this. Me and Ben are going to get some other ideas. Please leave that in the comment section, because we'll cover other angles. You saw the pyramid. What would be another area of that you'd like to have some light shined on? Let us know, and we'll be checking the comment section. Have a great evening.
Thank you.